I remember the first time I saw the football zombie in PvZ1, I almost pissed myself. He was one of the strongest zombies in the entirety of the first PvZ game, with his massive amount of health, along with the fact that he ran at absolute light speed towards your house. When he made his first appearance in the Garden Warfare series, I wasn't surprised at all by the fact that he had the most health in the game. Today, I want to rank all of the All-Stars, cause why the hell not? Just a quick disclaimer before we move on to the tier list, all the rankings in today's videos are purely my opinion on how much I like the character. That means don't go into the comment sections and be like, actually, statistically speaking, you actually placed this guy wrong because you can technically glitch him and move 4.687% faster than any other character in the game. Like, you can say that, but I really don't care because you just be a nerd. Anyways, as customary with one of these videos, I gotta make a dad joke before we start ranking these characters. So, let's all start to rank these all-stars. So first up, we got the original all-star, and I'm not even gonna lie, this guy's kind of peak. He's got a really solid primary that acts kind of like an assault rifle, which is already a plus for me because my favorite type of gun in almost any shooter games are assault rifle type guns. Now, I'm going to give you all a lore dump. 9-year-old me actually used to absolutely hate this guy in Garden Warfare 2. Like, I used to despise this guy, and I can't even remember why. I remember going back to my old Garden Warfare 1 account a little bit ago, and I literally did all of the character missions for almost every character except for this guy and the rest of his class. Like, I really don't know what this guy did that pissed me off that bad, but I just absolutely hated him. Anyways, like I was just saying before, this guy's gun is really good. The only thing I change about him is the overheating mechanic, because I just don't like that in any characters I play, but sadly, every all-star has it. For his design, I really like how they kept it very close to the original game and didn't pull a Battle for Neighborville on him and make him look really cursed. I honestly can't put this guy any higher than A tier, because although the rest of his kit is really good, he just really doesn't have anything to make up for the whole overheat thing, which I don't really like. Next up, we got the baseball star. I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all, this one is probably my least favorite and also my most favorite all-star at the same time. Now, you might be wondering how a character is one of my least favorite and one of my most favorite characters at the same time, and I'm gonna tell you, it's because he's absolutely dookie without any upgrades. Remember like 5 seconds ago when I said how I hated the fact that the All-Star had an overheat mechanic? Well, this guy not only has an overheat mechanic, but he must be shooting fucking magma balls or something, because Blood's gun overheats in like 2 seconds. In exchange for this though, he shoots a lot quicker than the normal All-Star with even more accuracy than the OG. Now, this wouldn't be enough by itself to warrant me putting him any higher than the bottom of C tier, just because of the god-awful overheat in his gun, but he has one thing that makes up for it. You see, the reason why this guy can also be really good in my opinion, is because he has an upgrade that pretty much reduces the extra overheat that he had beforehand, pretty much getting rid of the one problem I had with him. Now, I would recommend this guy to anyone trying to play him, but just keep in mind that you kind of have to grind levels with him until you can get this upgrade, meaning that the first little bit you play as him is going to be a living hell. After that though, you should be chilling. Honestly, I feel bad for putting him this low, but I'm going to have to put him in B tier, just because if he has no upgrades attached, he absolutely sucks to play as. Next up, we got the guy that doesn't even know how to play the sport he's famously known for, that being the cricket star. The thing I said about the guy not even knowing how to play cricket is actually true, which I kind of find a little bit funny. I'm just imagining this guy absolutely fumbling at every game he's a part of, but for whatever reason, he's still just famous. I guess he's just like that, I don't really know. Anyways, for his gameplay, the cricket star is literally the exact same as the OG All-Star. The only difference is that now he sacrifices base damage for a fire effect, which is pretty lame. Not necessarily bad, just kind of lame. As I've been looking back at these characters in the series, which you should watch if you haven't already, I've kind of grown a little bit of resentment for some of these characters that literally only have like one difference from the base character, and I've realized that although the difference can be really good, like having the fire effect, I just wish there could have been more added to some of these characters other than just one thing. Anyways, enough ranting. To be honest, I think this guy's probably on par with the normal All-Star, so I'm going to put him right next to the OG in A tier. Also, really quickly, I just want to mention that I think this guy's costume is probably one of my least favorites from the entire All-Star lineup. Like, this guy's helmet probably has the least amount of drip out of any of the All-Stars. Okay, next we have the hockey star. Guys, I might have lied to you. So, you know how for this entire video, I've just been absolutely dogpiling on the overheat mechanic? Well, this guy kind of has one of the quickest overheating guns in the entire game, and he's also kind of, sort of, maybe one of my favorite characters in the entire game. I know, but hear me out for a sec. This guy's absolutely cracked. Although he has a really bad overheat mechanic, his gun is just so satisfying to get hits with because of how fast he shoots. I'm not even kidding, this guy just shoots at a literal light speed. It's like the bullets instantly travel to their target. Also, I'd like to mention two things. One is that this guy does have an overheat upgrade like the baseball star, allowing him to extend the time he can shoot before he has to worry about overheating. But two is that this guy should not be called the hockey star. You see, there's another character in the game who's called the goalie star, even though he's literally wearing a hockey mask and shoots fucking hockey pucks. You want to know what the actual hockey star shoots? Stinky glove launchers. Look, all I'm saying is that they should have swapped the names for these guys. Maybe if they make a Garden Warfare 3 or something, they can swap the names. Until then, I'm dying on the hill that they should be swapped. Anyways, this guy's probably my favorite all-star besides the whole name thing, so he's going in S tier. I'm not gonna lie, this next guy had potential to be great, but he's just not. I'm talking about the golf star, and I really don't get the point of him. Basically, his little gimmick is that he shoots quicker than the normal all-star, but not as quickly as the hockey star, and has a slightly increased range along with the normal downside of a reduced time until overheat. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I really don't see a point of his existence in the game. I mean, his quick firing is cool, but the hockey star just does that better. As for his longer range, I don't really know why you'd want that for an SMG type gun with massive recoil. His gun isn't really built for range, so I don't know why he has the most zoom out of any of the all-stars. I feel like this would have fit a character with a slower and more consistent firing type of gun like the wrestling star a lot better than the golf star. As for his design, it's alright. I don't really have anything else to say about him because his clothes are just the most basic out of all the all-stars. Anyways, I'm going to chuck this guy in C tier because I just don't really see a point in his existence at all. Next up, we have the goalie star. Okay, I know I just mentioned this already for the hockey star, but I just want to mention one more time how stupid the names are for these two, and I really think they should swap the hockey star to the goalie star, and vice versa. Anyways, onto his gameplay. The goalie star is actually a really good all-star. He's able to freeze plants after hitting them a certain amount of times, along with being able to shoot a tiny bit faster than the normal all-star in exchange for some damage. Now, if this was it, this guy would just be alright, but the thing that makes me love him so much is his extended time before his gun overheats. The goalie star is able to shoot for the longest time out of any of the all-stars if we include his upgrades. This makes me hardcore glaze the dude because, as I said like 15 times now, I really hate characters with overheat, so any type of character he's able to counter that already makes me like them a lot. As for his design, I really like the hockey mask because it gives me Friday the 13th vibes. As for the rest of his design, it's kind of the exact same as every other all-star minus a few details. I think I'm going to put him at the very top of A tier. The only reason he's not in S tier is just because of my personal beef with him. Yeah, I know I put the hockey star in S tier, but I feel like his name suits him better than the goalie stars, if that makes any sense. Coming up next, we have the Moto X star, and honestly, I don't even know what sport he's supposed to represent. Like, we have the hockey star, which represents hockey, the tennis star who represents tennis, you know, the names that obviously tell you what they're supposed to represent, and then you just have the Moto star. I guess maybe he's supposed to be like dirt biking, but I feel like that doesn't really fit well with any of the other sports in the variants. Anyways, onto his dog water gun. I kinda just spoiled what I think of him, but I don't really care. So basically, this guy has the ability to disable plant abilities, and I think it also slows them down, but don't quote me on that, in exchange for him doing a lot less damage and having a slow firing rate. He also has splash damage that can do 1 to 2 damage depending on the range, but it's really not that good, nor would it really change my opinion of him. I feel like this guy kind of suffers from just being a worse version of the rest of the all-stars, or at least most of them. Like, his main ability is just a worse version of the freeze ability, as it only lasts for a tiny bit longer, but doesn't even fully freeze plant movement or stop them from attacking. I feel like if this guy just had a tiny bit more to help him, he could be really good, but I just feel like there's no point in playing him. I will give him one compliment though, and say I think he has the best design out of any of the All-Stars, with his outfit being the most unique from the normal All-Star in my opinion. I think this guy isn't absolutely terrible or anything, and his design is okay, so I'll put him in C tier. Next up, we have the Wrestling Star, and I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all, I think I've played as this guy and played against this guy a total of like less than 20 times in the last 8-ish years. I remember this guy coming out in that one update for Garden Warfare 1, and everyone played as him for like a tiny bit, but other than that, I don't really remember playing as or against this guy. I hopped into Garden Warfare 2, and I tried this guy out again, and he shoots a lot slower, but it seems like he does a lot of damage at close range. I feel like I remember this guy being a lot better than he actually is, but I don't really know. I guess if I'd have to sum him up, use this guy at close range, and definitely don't use him at far range. If I were to compare him to another class, I'd compare him to someone like the Shadow Flower or the Commando P. The weird thing is, though, is that those guys shoot really quick while the Rugby Star doesn't, even though they're both good at close range. Anyways, I could kind of see if you like this guy, but I personally really dislike him though, so I'm going to put him in F tier. He just doesn't really fit my playstyle. Next up, we got the Rugby Star, and it kind of just feels like the devs were running out of ideas when they were making this guy. This guy's a combination of the OG All-Star and the Wrestling Star, with a little bit of the Pea Shooter thrown in for some reason. I don't know why, but this guy's all over the place. Basically, this guy shoots slower like the Wrestling Star, while having the same type of damage output as the normal All-Star, while also having splash damage like the Pea Shooter. I feel like this guy's just a random concoction of different abilities that a bunch of characters and variants have, just all being thrown into one guy without any sort of sense for synergy. Like, I really don't know what they were smirking when they made this guy, but I feel like there's no real way to play him without being a worse version of an already existing character. If you try and play him at far range, then he just gets outclassed by the OG All-Star because it shoots quicker. And if you try and play as him at a close range, the Wrestling Star outclasses him. I feel like there's just nothing that this guy's really good at. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because this guy doesn't really lack too much in anything, but he's just kind of average overall. I think I'm going to put him at the top of C tier, just because I don't think there's a real scenario where I'd use this guy over any other All-Star, other than it maybe in Garden Ops because of the splash damage. Lastly, but certainly not least, and certainly not most, we have the Tennis Star. This guy's definitely the least creative All-Star in the whole variant list. This guy's big ability is that in exchange for losing damage, he moves faster. That's literally it. Like, I don't want to leave the impression that he's bad. I mean, he's definitely not good, but he's just average and uncreative. Like, this was supposed to be one of the new characters for Garden Warfare 2, and literally his main difference from the normal All-Star is that he just moves quicker. I also just looked this up, and apparently he doesn't even have the fastest movement speed, at least if you're not aiming down sights, because the Moto X-Star does for some ungodly reason. Like, I just don't see the appeal in using this guy unless you just walk around everywhere aiming down sights for some weird reason. I feel like the wiki just has to be wrong, and there's something else about this guy that makes him better, so tell me in the comments if that's true or not, but I'm just going to go with my memory and what the wiki's saying and rank him off of what I said, so he's going to go in C tier. Thanks for watching, guys. I listened to some of your guys' feedback in the last video, so I'm going to research each character a lot more, which was something I did in this video, and are going to continue to do in future videos, instead of basically only doing it off of memory, minus a few exceptions, which is what I was doing before. If you guys disagree with any of the placements in this video, feel free to tell me in the comments section. Also, if there's another game you want me to cover, or some other group of things you want me to cover in Garden Warfare 2, leave them in the comments as well. Make sure to like, subscribe, and watch another one of my videos, and as always, adios!